So I have been startups for a while now, more than a decade, and it's been really struggle to succeed economically in startups because building a product that succeeds at, in the consumer level, unlike a B2B space, it's really difficult. And especially considering the likes and dislikes I have in what I want to be working on. That is, core technology is what I like. So people come to me and ask, how do I go about starting a business or a startup? And some of them are like everybody else, like me, are bored of doing regular work, mundane regular work. It pays decent, but it is mundane regular work. Their soul is sucked by that work. So they want to start up, they have no clue. And I would say to those of my friends in that stage, you need to figure out what you want to be doing, read a lot of books. The main thing about startups is you need to have passion to figure out. Meta learning, it's called, learning about learning. You need to learn a lot, figure out what you want by experiments in your free times. And you need to brainstorm, meet with a lot of people, talk to them. That is the only way that will happen. Some of them are lucky from childhood, they know what they want to be doing and they go about doing it. And it's not the idea and all of that that matters, it's resilience, being able to fail and recover and continue, the grit. That is the most important thing. Because if one idea doesn't work out, which is often the case, you should be able to pivot it and pivot until you succeed. So that means the grit, resilience, ability to bounce back is the most important thing. And the other thing is, quite a lot of friends over the years have said, I need to pick your brains in startups, and then they are very confident. They know what kind of things they want to be somewhat doing, but they are very clear. They need to be like Jeff Bezos. I don't want small startups. I don't want to succeed in small ways. I want to be like Jeff Bezos. So you can't blame them. Everybody wants to be like Jeff Bezos, including myself. But we are not Jeff Bezos. We are all not Elon Musk. There is something called timing that matters in startups. It's not just the idea, it's not just the product. The timing is the most important factor. If they have to say, 1 minute. So timing is the most important factor in the success of startups. So there was somebody in India that started a business like Amazon, like Flipkart, in 1999, it seems. Online sales or e-commerce websites in 99, when not everybody had mobile phones, internet, it was not possible to succeed for him. But then Flipkart became successful after 10 years, after a decade when they started. So timing is the most important thing. And you need to understand that the people who succeed extraordinarily, it's not just the timing, they are outliers. There is this book called Outliers. They don't lie in the normal crowd, in the normal data set of, in the data set of people and their behaviors and their childhood. If they see the outliers don't fall into the normal crowd. So that's why they are called outliers. And these successful peoples have had experiences or childhood that makes them who they are. Combine that with their grit, tenacity, and not give up, and extraordinary visions and the ability to think how the world should function in the future, and convincing people to work on the ideas that are almost impossible, what people call as reality distortion field, that Steve Jobs is capable of and many other founders are capable of, to make people believe what seems impossible beyond the imagination is possible, and then create a team. So those outliers are able to do that. That means is the outliers timing and tenacity, grid, reality distortion field, and imagining something in the future and making people living today to believe that it's possible to build it, and all of that. That is for extraordinary large startups, right? Scale-ups and largest companies that change the world. But when it comes to starting a business that can give you freedom, I mean, unlike a boring job, stable job with weekend holidays that you have, it is also difficult. But remember, most of the start businesses you start doesn't give you freedom. It is a false freedom we think. It's actually we are free. We can decide when we work, when we don't work. That is also not true in all the businesses. For example, you start a restaurant business, you are stuck with it. You can't travel, you can't do anything unless you are able to make it into franchise model successfully. Highest failure rate is in restaurant businesses. But anyways, so in order to be able to do something, nobody can guide you. You need to figure out what you want to be doing. You need to ask 10 people, 20 people, 100 people, read books, figure out what you want. That is the only way. And what are the challenges? Figure out the systems. Find out the system that you can apply to figure out what you want and start a business. So read the books related to starting small businesses, startups. I will list them. So that is one of the very important abilities, because everybody is trying to figure it out, including myself. I have been trying to figure out various different products. So there is this book called Nail It and Scale It, I think. So I will share it. So that is one good book, but that's related to startups, technology, not small businesses. So, and the other important thing is when we start a project, there is a great dopamine hit. And this dopamine hit is really good when we start the projects. But then after a while, we start to travel in this, let's say it's like a business or a startup, it's like traveling in the train with great scenery to begin with. But within very short while, it enters a dark tunnel and you don't know when. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, but you don't know when it will end. It can take months or years. So you don't know how long you are going to be traveling. And this is why it's called messy middle, especially if you don't have customer feedback, you are not interacting with customers, like unlike clothing or jewelry or other businesses, technology startups and some startups, some other businesses, you need to build the product before you can go to the market. And even if you are in with the market, there's not much money coming in. So that messy middle, the portion, when you don't know when in that when it will end, you are traveling in the train in the dark tunnel with no lights, without knowing the end. That's a very difficult phase, and people don't realize that that will happen. That is what is happening, and they suffer without knowing this. So, and this is the it's a pattern, you know. When it comes to small businesses and startups, there is pattern, and you can apply these patterns, a system, and the people have developed systems and patterns, or whoever has experience have written the books. You can go read the books and learn from it and move. So Nail It and Scale It and Messy Middle, these are all some good books. And of course, biographies, autobiographies of great founders and businessmen you should know. For example, Nike, Shoe Dog is the book. And you should see, until they went public, they were always struggling for money. You won't believe it. Nike founder started Nike, and then after 2 years, he went to work as an accountant for 2 years to fund the business. So this is a really struggling thing you had to do if it is your business. If your family is supporting, your husband is supporting, wife is supporting, like it happened for Dyson, it will be great until you figure it out. So consider all of this. This is what I will say, because I'm sharing this because a friend asked me recently and few friends asked me recently about this. So also I want to share with quite a few people I think should know about this. Okay, if you have any feedback, if you resonate with this thought, please share what you think.